Captain Jackson Ryder stood alone on the edge of the floating platform, high above the crystal oceans of Nithyrus. The sky shimmered with violet light, and twin moons slowly rose in the distance. Everything was quiet, except his heartbeat. He looked down at the small metal box in his hand. Inside it was a ring made from earth gold, mixed with a drop of Nithirian star silver. He had worked for months to make it perfect. 5 years, he whispered to himself. 5 years, and I'm finally going to tell her. Her was Queen Cerelia, ruler of Nithyrus, leader of one of the strongest alien empires, the most beautiful being he had ever seen. But she was more than that to him. She was his friend, his partner in war, his silent strength during lonely nights, and the reason he smiled every time he saw her eyes, glowing faintly with violet light. Flashback. The war that changed everything 5 years ago. Humans and Nithirians had been forced to work together during the Krell invasion. The Krell were monsters, tall, four-armed beasts with no faces, only claws and hunger. They destroyed cities and turned planets into dust. Jackson was a pilot. Cerelia was a queen. Normally, they wouldn't have even met. But during one battle, Cerelia's ship was shot down. Jackson saw it fall and broke orders to go rescue her. Fought through Krell warriors alone and pulled her out of the wreck with his bare hands. Since then, they'd fought side by side, not as queen and soldier, but as equals. And maybe something more now. The war was over. Peace had returned. A celebration was planned on Nithyrus, the anniversary of light. All leaders, soldiers, and guests from across the galaxy were attending. Jackson had waited for the right time. This was it. At the palace, the Grand Palace of Nithyrus, floated on air, built with glowing stone and flying lanterns. The halls were filled with music and laughter. Alien nobles in bright clothing moved around, smiling and drinking strange glowing liquids. But Jackson wasn't there to party. He wore a clean black uniform with silver trim, the one Cerelia once said made him look brave and dangerous. He entered the throne hall, his boots echoing on the glass floor. There she was. Queen Cerelia stood on the royal platform, dressed in flowing robes of deep blue and silver. Her long hair floated as if touched by unseen wind, and her golden crown shined like a star. She was speaking to diplomats when she saw him. Her face brightened. "Captain Ryder," she said warmly, stepping down, "you're finally here." "I wouldn't miss this for the world," he smiled. She looked tired, but still graceful, strong. Her voice calmed him every time. "Walk with me," she asked. They walked through the royal gardens, away from the crowd. A heart ready to speak, Jackson tried to stay calm, but his heart pounded louder with every step. The box in his pocket felt heavier than ever. "Cerelia," he said softly, "can I tell you something? Something I've held inside for a long time?" She looked at him, eyes soft. "Of course." He stopped walking and turned to face her. The moons above made her silver tattoos glow. "When I first met you, I thought you were the strongest person I had ever seen. I was just a pilot, a nobody. But you were a queen, a fighter, a light in the dark." Cerelia listened quietly, her expression unreadable. "I know I'm human. I know I'm not from your world. But I fought beside you, bled beside you, and in all those moments, I fell in love with you." He knelt down slowly and opened the small metal box. Inside, the ring sparkled like a captured star. "I love you, Cerelia. Will you marry me?" The queen's shocking response, everything froze. The air felt the light, even the soft sound of birds. Cerelia's face turned pale. Her eyes widened, not with joy, but with shock. Then, something colder. "Jackson," she whispered. But before she could say more, royal guards appeared from the trees. "Captain Ryder," one guard barked. "You are under arrest by order." "Of the Queen? What?" Jackson stood up, confused. "What did I do? Not resist?" "Wait." He looked at Cerelia. "Tell them it's a mistake." Her face was distant now, her voice firm. "Stand down, Captain Ryder. You've broken royal protocol." 2 guards grabbed his arms. "Cerelia," he shouted. But she had already turned away. Imprisoned Ed Jackson sat alone in a cold stone room deep beneath the palace. He couldn't understand what had just happened. Did she hate him now? Did he embarrass her? Was love really a crime here? He touched the ring still hidden in his boot. His only gift to her. Suddenly the door opened. A soft light entered. It was Alara Soralia's trusted handmaiden. "Jackson," she whispered, "I don't have much time." He stood quickly. "Alara, please tell me what's going on." "Did she have me arrested?" Alara looked sad. She didn't want to. She was forced. "There are rules, Jackson. A queen cannot be proposed to by anyone outside the royal bloodline, especially not in public." "She didn't even answer me." "She couldn't," Alara said. "Not in front of everyone. There are those who would use your feelings against her. You don't understand how dangerous it is." Jackson's voice cracked. "Does she hate me?" Alara shook her head. "She cried after you were taken away. But she also said, 'I warned him. He is brave, but foolish.'" Then Alara leaned closer. "You must escape, Jackson. Something worse is coming." "What do you mean?" "There are those in the palace who think your love for the queen is a threat to the throne, and there is talk of removing you permanently." Jackson's eyes went cold. "Let them try." "No," Alara whispered. "You must live." "For her?" She placed a small data crystal in his hand. "She wanted you to have this. Before the wedding." "Wedding?" Jackson stepped back, stunned. "She's being forced to marry Lord Vekthar of the Xerix Empire." Vekthar. The name, ruthless, power-hungry, dangerous. "They say it's for peace," Alara said. "But the queen doesn't love him." She stopped, looked away. "I've said too much." With a final glance, she left. Alone with the truth, Jackson sat down, holding the crystal tightly. So that was her shocking response. Not hate, not anger, fear, a warning. She had pushed him away to protect him, but now she was going to marry a monster. Just to keep peace? "No," he whispered. "Not like this." Jackson looked up, his eyes hard as steel. He had one chance, one plan. He would escape. He would stop this marriage. And this time, he would make her say yes, no matter what it took. The prison cell was dark and silent. Captain Jackson Ryder sat on a cold metal bench, staring at the tiny crystal Alara had given him. His mind was full of questions, pain, and confusion. He had risked everything by proposing to Queen Soralia, and now he was a prisoner in the very palace where he once walked proudly. "She cried after I was taken." That's what Alara had said. If Soralia still cared, why did she let this happen? Was love really a crime here? Memories that hurt Jackson closed his eyes and tried to remember better days. The time Soralia laughed at his awkward Earth jokes. The night they danced under the stars of a dead planet after a long battle. The quiet moments they shared during peace talks, just sitting side by side, not needing to say anything. She never said the words, but her eyes always held something. Something more now. Those same eyes had ordered his arrest. A threat in the dark. Suddenly, the cell door opened. 2 guards stepped inside. But these were not Soralia's regular royal guards. Their armor was black, marked with a strange red symbol. One held a short spear. The other had a curved blade. "You," one said coldly, "come with us." Jackson stood slowly. "Where are we going?" Silence. "Out." He didn't fight. Not yet. The guards led him through narrow tunnels, deeper into the ground beneath the palace. The air was damp. There were no lights now, only flickering torches. Then they entered a stone room lit by a single flame. A tall alien stepped forward, his face hidden behind a silver mask. His voice was rough and cruel. "You are the human who thinks he can love." "A queen?" Jackson said nothing. "You embarrassed her. You broke our sacred law. And now you must disappear." Jackson's eyes narrowed. "Who are you?" "I serve Lord Vekthar. He's the future king of Netheris. And you are a problem. So you're here to kill me?" The masked alien smiled. "Not yet. First I want you to listen." He pulled out a small device and activated it. A 3D image appeared. Soralia and Lord Vekthar, standing together on a stage. The queen looked stiff. The lord looked proud. She is marrying him tomorrow, the masked alien said. The marriage is a peace deal between Nadaris and the Xerix Empire. If she refuses, there will be war. If she chooses you, there will be death. Jackson's fists tightened. She's being forced. She's being wise, the masked alien leaned closer. You are nothing. A soldier. A human. Weak. Poor. Not royal. You are not her equal. But you made her weak too. She's not weak, Jackson growled. She's the strongest person I've ever known. Then she will do what is necessary, and you will die tonight. He raised his blade. A queen's gift before the blade could strike. The torchlight flickered. A loud crack echoed through the tunnels. A smoke bomb rolled into the room. Gray mist filled the air. The guards coughed and stumbled. A shadow moved quickly. Suddenly, the masked alien was kicked backward. The blade flew from his hand. Jackson was pulled back by someone in a hooded cloak. Move, the rescuer shouted. Jackson didn't ask questions. He followed the figure through the tunnels behind them. Angry voices shouted and metal clashed. After minutes of running, they reached a secret exit. The cloaked figure pushed a wall panel and light poured in from the outside. They were free. The figure removed the hood. It was Saren, one of Sorelia's secret guards. The queen sent me, Saren said. We don't have much time. Jackson gasped for breath. She knew they were going to kill me. She tried to stop it, but her power is limited now. The council supports the marriage. They say it will save millions of lives. Jackson's voice was low. And what about her life, her happiness? Saren said nothing. A hidden message. Saren handed Jackson a communicator. She left a message for you. Jackson activated it. Sorelia's face appeared in a soft blue light. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were filled with pain. Jackson, I'm sorry. I had no choice. If I accepted your proposal, they would call me unfit to rule. The Xerix Empire would attack. Millions could die. And they would kill you first. But listen carefully. Lord Vecthar is not what he seems. I have reason to believe he is working with the Krell. This marriage is a trap. To survive. And if you can, stop this wedding. You're the only one I trust. And Jackson, I didn't say yes. I also didn't say no. The message ended. A dangerous plan. Jackson stood in silence for a long time. Then he turned to Saren. She needs me. Yes, Saren said. But you can't do it alone. I won't. Jackson looked up at the stars above. I'm going to stop that wedding. Gathering the team the next day, Jackson traveled to the old war base outside the city. It was abandoned, but he knew where to find help. He called 3 people. Rin, an Etherian tech genius who once hacked a Krell warship. Kara, a human sniper who owed Jackson her life. Threx, a giant alien warrior who believed in honor over politics. When Jackson explained the truth, they all agreed. She saved us once, Threx said. Now we save her. Inside the palace, Aurelia stood in front of the mirror in her royal chamber. She wore a white ceremonial gown, with golden armor hidden beneath. Her face was calm, but inside her heart was heavy. Tonight, she would marry a man she did not love, a man she did not trust. She touched a small locket around her neck. Inside was a photo of Jackson, taken during the war. I hope you got my message, she whispered. Behind her, the door opened. Lord Vecthar entered, smiling. Are you ready, my queen? It turned slowly. I am. But in her eyes there was fire. Final Senna Jackson and his team stood outside the palace gates. Hidden in the shadows, they wore stolen uniforms and carried smoke bombs, EMPs. And one mission, stop the wedding. Jackson looked at the palace windows. She's in there, I know it. He held the ring box again. It's the same one he had used the night he proposed. But this time, he wasn't just proposing. He was going to fight for her. The skies over Nadaris were dark. Rain clouds gathered as if the planet itself was worried about what was coming. Captain? Jackson Ryder stood with his small team just outside the royal city walls. He wore a stolen Netherian guard uniform. His face was calm, but his mind was full of thoughts. Soralia was in danger. She was being forced to marry Lord Vecthar, a man she didn't love. And worse, she believed Vecthar might be working with the Krell. Jackson looked up at the shining palace. Far in the distance, lights glowed in the towers. The wedding was hours away. He had one chance to stop it. The team beside Jackson stood three of the most loyal people he had ever known. Kara, a sharpshooting human woman with perfect aim and a strong heart. Rin, a Netherian tech genius. Small in size, but big in brains. Threx, a giant, red-skinned warrior from the planet Goroth. Known for his strength and honor, all of them had fought in the war. All of them had one thing in common. They owed their lives to either Jackson or Queen Sarah. And now, they were ready to return the favor. The planned Jackson knelt on the rocky ground and pulled. Out a map of the palace tunnels, Orion pointed at a hidden passage near the lower gardens. "This is our way in," she said. "It connects to the old storage halls under the throne room. Nobody uses it anymore." Kara checked her weapon. "What about guards? Most will be at the wedding platform," Threx said. "But once the alarm rings, they'll come fast." Jackson nodded. "Then we do this quick. Get to Soralia, expose Vecthar, and get out alive." He looked at each of them. "No killing unless it's necessary. We're here to save her, not start a war." Entering the palace, night fell fast. Using cloaking, shields stolen from Rin's lab, the team moved like shadows. They reached the garden wall, cut through the vines, and slipped inside the tunnel entrance. The air inside was cold and wet. Old stone walls echoed with their footsteps. Rin hacked the security locks. Kara kept watch. Threx carried the heavy gear. Jackson led the way. He remembered this palace well. He had walked these halls before, as a guest, a friend, a soldier. Now he was an intruder. The hidden truth halfway through the tunnels. Rin stopped. "There's movement ahead," she whispered. Jackson peered into the dark. Two figures were guarding a doorway. Guards loyal to Vecthar, not Soralia. Threx stepped forward. "Let me handle this." Before anyone could stop him, Threx ran into the open. "Hey, I'm lost." "Which way to the wedding?" The guards pointed their weapons, confused. That's when Kara fired her stun rounds. Zap. Guard. Both guards fell unconscious. "Nice. Distraction," Rin said. Threx grinned. "You're welcome." They moved ahead and entered a hidden control room. Inside, Rin pulled out a small crystal and connected it to the computer. "I'm downloading security logs," she said. "If Vecthar is hiding something, it'll be in here." As data loaded, images flashed on the screen. Secret meetings, money transfers, military orders. Then a video appeared. It showed Lord Vecthar speaking with a Krell. Commander Jackson froze. He really is working with them. The video showed Vecthar promising to give the Krell access to Nither's airspace in return for help removing Soralia and taking full control. Rin saved the file. "We have proof now," she said. "We just need to show it to the people." Meanwhile, at the palace, Queen Soralia sat in her dressing room, alone. The wedding dress felt heavy on her body. The golden armor hidden beneath it felt even heavier. She looked in the mirror and whispered, "You promised you'd come, Jackson." A knock at the door. Her advisor entered. "My queen, it's time." Soralia stood. Her eyes looked tired, but inside, she was ready for anything, even a war. The wedding begins. The grand ceremony platform floated above the palace, lit by hundreds of glowing orbs. Thousands of Netherians and alien guests filled the air balconies and skyships. Nearby, music played. Vecthar stood at the front, smiling. Soralia walked down the center path, her steps slow. Her hands clenched. She saw the faces watching her. Proud, cold, curious. But the face she wanted to see the most wasn't there. The infiltration Jackson's team reached the final hallway. They could hear the wedding music above them. "We go now," said suddenly. A laser trap activated. Red beams shot across the hallway. I can disable it, Rin said, running to the wall panel. Just cover me. Akara fired at the sensors. While Threx blocked blasts from small autoguns, finally click. The lasers stopped. Go, 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 Jackson shouted. They reached the elevator that led to the wedding platform. The truth, reveled Sorelia, stood across from Vectar. A priest spoke the old marriage words. Do you, Queen Sorelia, join your soul to Lord Vectar? Boom. The elevator. Behind them exploded open. Smoke filled the stage. Jackson Ryder stepped out. Everyone gasped. Guards moved in. Weapons raised. Stop. Sorelia shouted, Let him speak. Jackson held up a small projector. A video appeared in the air. Vectar's secret meeting with the Krell. The entire crowd saw it. Gasps, cries, shouts. Vectar's face turned white. It's a lie. He screamed. No, Sorelia said coldly. It's the truth. She turned to the priest. This wedding is over. Then she removed the crown from her head. The fight breaks out. Vethar grabbed a hidden blade and rushed at Shirl. Leaped in front of her. The blade cut across his side. Blood poured. Threx tackled Vectar to the ground. Kara and Rin held off incoming guards. Jackson collapsed, but Sorelia caught him. Stay with me, she said. Jackson looked up weakly. You didn't say yes? Tears touched her eyes. I'm saying it now. She kissed his forehead. Aftermath Vecker was arrested. The crowd turned against him. The council apologized to Sorelia. Jackson was taken to the Royal Med Bay. He woke up hours later. His side wrapped in healing foam. Sorelia sat beside him, still alive. She smiled. Barely, he replied. You saved my life again. You saved mine first. They sat in silence. Then she pulled out the same small box he once held. Do you still have this? Jackson smiled. Always. She opened it, took the ring, and placed it on her finger. Yes, she whispered. The morning after the ruined wedding, the skies over Nitherus were dark with tension. Though Lord Vectar had been arrested, the danger wasn't over. His followers were still inside the palace. Some members of the royal council refused to believe the truth. Jackson lay in the royal medical chamber. His body was healing, but he was not resting. He kept sitting up, checking his wounds and asking for updates. Queen Sorelia sat beside him, wearing simple clothes instead of her royal robes. She looked tired, but peaceful. You should be resting, she said softly. I will rest when you're safe, Jackson replied. You're still in danger. Sorelia touched his arm. And you nearly died for me. Jackson looked into her eyes. You were always worth it. Vectar's revenge planned down in the royal prison. Lord Vectar sat in his cell, but he was not afraid. His eyes burned with hate. A small device was hidden inside his collar. Clicked it twice. Elsewhere, deep in the city's shadows, a group of Xerix soldiers received the signal. Their leader, a female Xerix commander with dark armor, gave the order, begin Operation Shadow Bloom. They had one mission: rescue Vectar and assassinate Queen Sorelia. The invasion would begin that night. Sorelia's decision later that day. Sorelia called a meeting with her close council members. People were divided. Some wanted war against the Xerix Empire. Others wanted peace talks. But Sorelia had made her choice. We do not hide. We do not beg, she said. We tell the truth. We show the galaxy that Nitherus will never bow to traitors. And the wedding. One elder asked carefully. I will choose my own path, she said. Not for politics, but for love. Jackson, who had just entered the room with a bandage on his side, smiled when he heard that. I'm still here if you'll have me. He, said Sorelia, turned to him, smiled back. Always. The Trappist set Sorelia and her team made a plan. They would fake another wedding, a public ceremony to draw out Vectar's remaining supporters, would pretend that all was forgiven, and that Sorelia had changed her mind. Of course it was a trap. I will act like the wedding is real, Sorelia said. But this time, I'll be armed under the gown. Jackson will be there, waiting in the shadows. Rin would control the lights and doors. Kara would take a sniper position. Threx would be at Ceralia's side, pretending to be her bodyguard. They would allow the enemy to come close and then strike. Preparing for battle that night, the palace was decorated again. Flowers, music, floating lanterns. Everything looked peaceful and beautiful. But behind every curtain was a soldier. Behind every flower was a weapon. Cerealia wore a new dress, this one made of thin battle fabric. It looked delicate, but it could stop a blade. Her crown was slightly changed inside. Small energy dagger was hidden. Jackson stood nearby, dressed in dark armor beneath his cloak. His side still hurt, but his mind was clear. He would not let anyone take her again. "Are you ready?" Cerealia asked him. "I've been ready since the day I met you," he said. They both smiled. Then it began the second wedding. The crowd was smaller this time. Only trusted members of the council and a few high nobles. The rest of the public watched from screens across the planet. The fake ceremony started. The priest began his speech. Cerealia stepped forward, standing under the golden arch once more. Jackson stayed hidden behind the curtain, watching everything, RIN. Whispered into her comes, multiple heat signatures approaching from the east wall. "It's them," Kara whispered. "Target spotted on rooftop. Sniper gear. They're ready to fire." Standing beside Cerealia, gripped his sword under his robe. Jackson said. Then boom, the wall exploded. Zarek's assassins stormed into the palace, weapons raised. The final battle chaos filled the room. Guards shouted. Guests screamed. Cerealia pulled her energy dagger from her crown and blocked the first blade aimed at her. Threx roared and slammed. Two attackers into the ground, Kara fired her sniper from above. Taking down enemies before they could reach the queen, Jackson burst from his hiding spot, grabbing a guard's sword and charging into the fight. His movements were sharp, fast. Even with his injury, he fought like a warrior born. "Stay with her," he shouted to Threx. "I will never leave her side," the alien replied. Vectar's escape while the battle raged in the throne room. The lower cells, Vectar's secret allies, attacked the prison guards. They broke into his cell and freed him. "We must go," one said. "No," Vectar growled. I will finish this myself." He grabbed a dark blade from the weapons crate and headed toward the throne room. "I will kill the queen with my own hands." Face to face, on the golden steps of the throne room, Cerealia stood alone. Enemies were all around her. Her guards were busy. She held a short sword now, her dress torn, her face covered in dust and sweat. Then Vectar appeared. He walked through the smoke, his red eyes burning. "You could have ruled beside me," he said. "You never wanted." "Peace," she replied. "You wanted control? I will have it, even if I must take it from your cold body." He charged. She met his attack, steel against steel. Jackson saw Vectar reach Cerealia. He didn't hesitate. He ran, pushing through guards, jumped across the platform, and tackled Vectar before the final blow could land. They rolled across the floor, exchanging punches and kicks. "You think you're her equal?" Vectar shouted. "You're just a human? You're just a coward in armor?" Jackson spat back. They fought hard, fist, blade fire at the end. Vectar stood over Jackson, blade raised. "Any last words?" Jackson smiled. "Yeah, look behind you." Zap. Cerealia fired her hidden energy weapon straight into Vectar's chest. He dropped to the ground. Peace at last. The battle was over. The enemies were arrested. Vectar was taken away, barely alive. Supporters fled or surrendered. Jackson sat down beside Cerealia on the steps, breathing hard. "You saved me," he said. "I wasn't going to let you die twice." She smiled. The guests began to cheer. The council members bowed. Peace had been restored. But more importantly, the truth had been seen by the whole galaxy. A new beginning. 1 week later, a new ceremony was held. This time, there were no traps, no lies, no enemy spies, only love. Cerealia wore a new dress, half Earth style, half Netherian royal. Jackson wore a clean uniform with medals from every war he had fought. The twin moons shined above them. They stood before the people, hands joined. The priest smiled. "Queen Cerealia of Nithris, do you accept Captain Jackson, Rider of Earth, as your life partner?" "I do," she said. "And Captain Rider, Do you accept I said yes 5 years ago? Jackson smiled. The crowd laughed softly. Then I now declare you bonded not by politics but by love. They kissed.